Alright, what's up guys? I have a brand new Zombie World deck profile for you guys today. Zombies just got seriously buffed with the release of a few different cards from Duel Overload. Got Crystron Needle Fiber released in this set. We've got the Predaplant Anaconda, Zero Mayakashi. Like, it's gotten some pretty darn good cards. A lot of new interruptions and a lot of new plays that the deck can make. But yeah, today we're going to play... I'm going to reveal to you a very strong control build of the deck. It basically stops your opponent from playing, and then you end on like a Crusadia Avermax or something really strong like that. And it's tough for them to do anything. But we start off with two Doom Kings. It's like the boss monster of the deck. It's so good because it just keeps reoccurring, and it can help you banish your opponent's monsters. It can help you negate their effects. Basically, you can, like, for example, your opponent can summon, like, say, for example, like an Armageddon Knight. You can ash their Armageddon Knight, activate Doom King, and then banish their Armageddon Knight. Like, it's crazy. You get to do so much insane stuff with this card, and it's just like every turn you get to bring him back and bring him back and bring him back. You play two copies of Yugioh History. This one is a newer release card. It came out in the last set, but the benefit with this card is that it actually fills your graveyard with zombies because you have to discard a zombie to summon it. And on top of that, during your opponent's turn, you can target one of their monsters in their graveyard and then special summon it, and that is a quick effect. So, like, let's say they activate Monster Reborn. For example, you can chain Yugioh History, take their Monster Reborn just fizzles. They activate, for example, Invocation, and you chain Yugioh History, you can take their Alistair, the Invoker, out of the graveyard, and then that just fizzles. Like, it's really good. It's a really good interruption card because it grabs cards out of their graveyard and it's a quick effect. So then we play three copies of the Unizombie. This card is one of the main playmakers of the deck. It's one of the cards you really want to see in your opening hand. And this card basically lets you send monsters from your hand and from your deck. Send zombies from your hand and from your deck. And then basically after you're done with that, only zombies can attack, but you have Zombie World, so everything's a zombie, so that might as well not even be relevant. But it's an insane card. It's one of your main, like, play starters. You want to get like Prime Banshee, the Necro World Banshee and stuff like that, and Glow Up Bloom in the graveyard as fast as possible so you can move on to your bigger and better plays, and this is one of the best ways to do it. This card basically searches him. This is Shiranui Solitaire. You contribute Shiranui Solitaire and then special summon the Unizombie from your deck, or you can actually special summon Glow Up Bloom, but usually it's, Unizombie. Next we've got three copies of Necro World Banshee. This card you can banish when it's face up or in the graveyard, and then directly from your deck activate a Zombie World, which is super awesome. And then if you happen to have it on the field, it also protects Zombie World, so sometimes you actually do want to do that. Then we've got two Glow Up Blooms. This, if you have Zombie World, lets you special summon a level when it's in the graveyard. When it goes to the graveyard, you banish it, and then you can special summon a level 5 or higher zombie monster from your deck if you banish it from your if Zombie World is on the field. And if Zombie World's not on the field, you just search it and get it to your hand. And that's not always bad, because sometimes you can search the Yugioh History and then discard like a Mizuki, for example, and keep your plays going. We've got one Mizuki. This is more of a control build, so you don't have to play like a ton of Mizukis. If you were, playing like the big danger build with all of that stuff, you definitely want to play more Mizukis. You probably play 3, but in this build you don't need to. One Gozuki. This card is basically your other normal summon, because you don't have a lot of normal summons in this deck. It's basically just the Solitaire, the Unizombie, and this. Other than that, you don't really play too many normal summons, and he's pretty good for that. Two Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion, so we can play around the Call by the Grave. When they try to Call by the Grave the Doom King, you can just respond with this, and they lose their Call by the Grave, and then on top of that, you get to, banish a monster and negate an effect, if you wanted to. 3 Ash Blossoms. Just very good hand traps, and they're zombies, so they help you with, Doom King. We've got 3 copies of Zombie World. 1 is common. I didn't pick up the new. I didn't manage to pick up 3 in the new. In the Duel Overload, I only got, unfortunately, 2. But I'll pick up the last one later. 1 Terraforming, just in case we don't see a way to get to it otherwise. 3 copies of Super Polymerization. This is one of the best decks to use Super Polymerization in, because it's just disgusting, honestly. It's like You discard a card, which is already good for you because you get to, it's probably a zombie you want to put in graveyard anyway. And on top of that, with Zombie World, it makes everything zombies, and you can just special summon the goat from your deck, which is Draco Nethersoul from your extra deck. And then any 2 zombies, it's like non-targeting, non-destruction removal. It's amazing. Then we play 3 copies of Instant Fusion. We are playing the Instant Fusion package. I like this better than the Call by the Grave package because it puts monsters on board. And then you can go either into Millennium Eyes, or if you're going second, you can go into Thousand Eyes. But I like the Instant Fusion over the Call by the Graves because, you know, they both have their benefits. That's without a doubt. But I like that the Instant Fusion package puts a monster on the board, which is good. Then we play 1-1-1-4-1 because it's limited to 1. I'd play more if I could. But yeah, it lets you get the glue up bloom out early, and it doesn't waste your normal summon. Then we play 3 copies of Rivalry. This card is disgusting in this deck. This card was made for this deck. You basically turn everything on the field into zombies. Second they normal summon anything, you just flip this, and then they can't summon anything from their deck or from their hand. Their graveyard is zombies, but it's the beginning of the, you know, they haven't been able to, like, you know, mill anything, so you kind of just screw them over, they end their turn, and you just blow them out the next turn. Play 2 copies of Eradicator, Epidemic Virus. These are more of these kind of blowout cards for you. Like if you draw this and Zombie World, it's pretty much game. If you draw this and you can get it to a Doom King and you're playing against most decks, it's pretty much game. You just call spells and they're gone. And you Altergeist, you call traps and they're gone. Like it's very good for those purposes. Then we play 2 copies of Shiranui, Swallow Slash. This one is basically you tribute a zombie, pop 2 cards on the field, and then you banish a Shiranui, which is going to be one of your solitaires in the deck. But it's like, if you had others, you could banish things and get additional effects, but in this particular case, you're just doing that. Now for the extra deck, this is where most of the new stuff comes. Like all of that was pretty standard, but the extra deck is where the new stuff comes. We play 1 copy of Millennium Eyes, super awesome. This is basically a Call by the Grave on legs. But it actually does more than Call by the Grave, technically speaking. And you can bring it back, for example, with like Mizuki, and you can just leave it during your opponent's turn, like, because you can leave it during your opponent's turn, and then it can negate an effect and grab the monster and attach it. So it's kind of like a negate if you want to Mizuki it back to the field. 1 copy of Thousand Eyes Restrict, super awesome card. It's great for going second, snatches your opponent's monsters. It's really, really good. It helps get around troublesome stuff like let's say they have like a window, you summon this, target the window, take the window, gets rid of window for you, and it's 1 summon, and then once you've taken the window as material, you don't have to worry about playing under that. 2 copy of Draco Nethersoul Dragon. This card basically is just super poly target. You turn everything into zombies, and then everything's a super poly target, so this card's awesome. You play 2 because sometimes you have to go into more than 1 during a duel. 1 Starving Venom Fusion Dragon because there are a lot of dark decks. You can also play as a super poly target the like the Salamangreat monster or the Diplexer Chimera or something like that. You could play any of that stuff. You can play other things, but I think this one's the best. 1 Desert Locust. You can see where this is going. This is actually, you play this with Crystron Needlefiber. Crystron Needlefiber during your opponent's turn allows you to tribute it and then synchro summon from your extra deck, and it counts as a synchro summon. And this card, when it's synchro summoned, allows you to basically the turn player has to discard a card from their hand, and this deck already drains your opponent of so many resources, and you just wait till they go to like the battle phase or until they have like barely any cards in hand, and you just activate Desert Locust. You just basically tribute the Crystron Needlefiber, summon the Desert Locust, and then make them discard. It just makes, you know, an already horrible situation even worse, so I like this card. You can also play Wonder Magician. In this particular deck, I like the Desert Locust. So that is the Synchros. We play 1 copy also of the Relinquished Anima. This card is basically Thousand Eyes Restrict, but in a Link Monster form. And it's really good with Thousand Eyes Restrict, because sometimes you can Instant Fusion, summon Thousand Eyes Restrict, take a monster, link it away, make Anima, point to another monster, take another monster. It's really good for that. So you can like wipe out multiple monsters off of 1,000 Eyes, off of 1 Instant Fusion. Play 1 copy of Link Karibo. This is another just for the Thousand Eyes to get rid of them. 1 Crystron Needlefiber. This card's really good in this deck because you can, any 2 monsters, as long as you have Zombie World, you can, any 2 monsters into the Glow Up Bloom and summon Glow Up Bloom, and then link these 2 away into another link 2, like for example, Vampire Sucker, and then you can activate Glow Up Bloom, and then you can go into a link 3. Like, it lets you link climb a lot, actually. It lets you get to Glow Up Bloom even if you don't have like a Unizombie to start off with, which is really good. So there's that. We play 1 copy of the Vampire Sucker. I don't think you need to play more than 1, you can, but I just want to try some of the newer cards. But if you want to replace some of the newer cards with another Vampire Sucker, perfectly fine with that. 1 Avendred Savior. This one is a basically like another Link 2 to play for going second. It helps you send Doom King. It's really good. 1 IP Masquerena. This card's like really good in the deck because you make so many Link 2s so easily in this deck. Basically, like a lot of the extra deck is Link 2s, and you can Link climb into Crusadia Avermax, and Crusadia Avermax with Rivalry and Zombie World is like game. Like if you have Rivalry of the Warlords, Crusadia Avermax, and Zombie World, like no one is getting over that. They need a like Lightning Storm and like all, and then they'd have to be able to summon a Borreload. You have to be able to Lightning Storm you and summon a Borreload. Like that's how difficult that board is to get over. Then we play the all new Predaplant Verte Anaconda. This is another really good card because it lets you basically use Super Polymerization from your deck, or it lets you use Instant Fusion from your deck if you wanted to. But probably the Super Polymerization from your deck, which is just crazy. Like, your opponent can respond because it's not, the effect of Super Polymerization. This card's effect becomes the effect of Super Polymerization. But you can still fuse away your opponent's monsters, which is really awesome. And then for the Link 4s, we play 1 Yokiuna, the Absolute Zero Mayakashi. It's all new zombie card, all new boss monster. Basically, it negates any card, any monster, any of your opponent's cards that activate in the Banish Zone. On top of that, when a card is special summoned from the graveyard or an effect is activated from the graveyard, you can target a monster in your opponent's side of the field, make their attack 0, and then negate their effects. It's really good. Really, really good. And, of course, you can make it off of the IP Masquerena. And, where is it? Off the IP Masquerena, and then it can't be destroyed by card effects, which makes the card additionally good. Like, it makes the card really strong. I'm really happy. Yeah, like I said, it's very easy to use the IP Masquerena in this deck. It's very good in this deck. And then, of course, my favorite monster, the Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax. This is like kind of like the very clutch boss monster of the deck, the pseudo boss monster of the deck. Of course, the boss monster is Doom King, but with IP, you can make this, and it can't be targeted. It can't be targeted by attacks. It can't be destroyed by card effects, and it gains attack every time it's attacked. And when it leaves the field, it shuffles away one of your opponent's cards. Like, this card has like a trillion effects. It's just really, really good. And you make it off of IP, and it's even stronger. And of course, IP is a quick effect, so you can make it during your opponent's turn if you wanted to. You can also go into a lot of different stuff during your opponent's turn if you really needed to. But yeah, that is the deck. Try it out. Let me know how you like it. But I like it quite a bit. I think these new Link monsters actually improve the deck immensely. And I guess let me know how it goes for you guys.